In a village where the sky met the earth and where traditions were as old as the whispering baobab trees, there lived a woman named Amina. Amina was enchanting. Her eyes were dark pools of wisdom, and her laughter had the power to make the sternest elder smile. Yet, despite her beauty and charm, she remained unmarried. Tired of her solitude and desperate to find a husband, Amina consulted the oracle, a wizened old woman named Nia, who could commune with the ancestors. In a hut that smelled of herbs and ancient scrolls, Nia spoke. "Child, your destiny is unlike any other. The man who fathers your child will become the ruler of this village, and his reign will bring unparalleled prosperity." Intrigued and emboldened, Amina devised a radical plan. She would sleep with every eligible man in the village. This way, she reasoned, she would not only find her destined husband, but also secure the best future ruler for her people. As weeks turned into months, the village began to buzz with rumors. Amina's unconventional search for a husband became the talk at every gathering around every fire. Finally, Amina found herself with child. She was radiant, her belly round and full, a living testament to the prophecy. As her due date approached, tension thickened in the air. Each family with an eligible son began to claim the unborn child as their own, laying their stake to the future chieftainship. In the middle of this maelstrom, Amina gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The village rejoiced, but the joy was short-lived, for the next problem was immediate and pressing. Who was the father of this child born to rule? Elders convened, wives gossiped, warriors sharpened their spears. Everyone had a theory, and every man wanted a test. The village was on the brink of a civil war, and only the true identification of the child's father could bring peace. Yet Amina remained serenely confident. She knew that the prophecy would not fail her, nor would it fail her people. And so, with her newborn son cradled in her arms, she awaited the revelation that would change the fate of her village forever. A week had passed since the birth of Amina's son, whom she named Tariq, meaning he who knocks at the door. It seemed as though Tariq was indeed knocking at the door of a new era for the village, one fraught with uncertainty and anticipation. The Council of Elders, the esteemed body responsible for making major decisions in the village, convened under the oldest baobab tree. Its gnarled branches seemed to sag with the weight of the momentous decision ahead. Our ancestors have always shown us the way in times of both harmony and discord, said Osei, the eldest among them, his voice trembling like the last leaves of autumn. We must seek their wisdom to resolve this crisis. Just then, Nia, the oracle, stepped into the circle, her eyes glowing with a fire that seemed almost supernatural. "I have spoken with the ancestors," Naya began, her voice a mesmerizing melody that silenced even the cicadas. "They propose a test, one that will reveal not just the father of young Tariq, but also the future leader of our people." Murmurs spread through the council, even among the elders who had seen many harvests and many seasons. This was unprecedented. "The test," continued Nia, "will require each potential father to undertake a journey to the sacred mountain. At its peak lies a stone, not just any stone, a moonstone, imbued with the wisdom of our ancestors. The man who returns with this stone will be deemed the true father and the destined ruler of our village." A collective gasp filled the air. The sacred mountain was a place of many perils, wild beasts, treacherous terrain, and above all, spiritual trials that could break even the strongest will. Yet, the Council of Elders knew there was no other way. After a moment of ponderous silence, Osei spoke. "Then it is decided. Each claimant will set forth at dawn 3 days hence. May the ancestors guide us." As the council dispersed, a kaleidoscope of emotions filled the village square. excitement, fear, hope, all woven together in a tapestry as intricate as life itself. Amina, holding Tariq close to her chest, felt a calm assurance wash over her. The ancestors had set the stage, and now it was up to the men to prove their mettle. But even she couldn't foresee the twists and turns that lay ahead, for the journey to the sacred mountain was one that would bring surprising revelations, ones that would change the village and its people in ways they had never imagined. As dawn broke 3 days later, a sense of expectant hush enveloped the village. The air was thick with the smell of burning sage as incense billowed from the homes, seeking the blessings of the ancestors for the journey ahead. 6 men stood at the village square, each representing a different family, claiming Tariq as their kin. Their faces were a canvas of emotions, eagerness, fear, and a simmering excitement that seemed almost palpable. Amina, cradling Tariq in her arms, watched them quietly. Her eyes met each of theirs, a wordless message that seemed to say, "May the best man win." With a blow of a horn and the beat of drums, the journey began. Each man carried a satchel filled with offerings, kola nuts, palm wine, and sacred amulets to honor the spirits of the sacred mountain. The path was laden with challenges, both physical and mystical. Rivers that twisted like serpents, forests that whispered secrets, and caves that echoed with the laughter and cries of forgotten souls. However, the real test lay at the foot of the sacred mountain. A stone altar stood there, inscribed with ancient runes that told tales of heroes and gods, love and betrayal. Beside the altar was a pool of water, so clear it mirrored their deepest fears and desires. As the men reached the altar, a voice echoed around them, a voice so ethereal it seemed to belong to the mountain itself. Offer what you value most, and you may proceed. The voice resonated, filling the air with an unspoken gravity. One by one, the men approached the altar. Some offered gold, others heirlooms passed down through generations. But nothing happened. The way to the peak remained sealed, as if mocking their futile attempts. Finally, it was Django's turn. Django was not the wealthiest or the strongest among them, but he was known for his wisdom and humility. Instead of placing an object on the altar, he knelt and offered a prayer for the village, for Amina, and for the unborn generations who would inherit the earth. As he finished, the altar glowed a soft, radiant light, and the path to the peak opened up as if summoned by his sincerity. Awed and humbled, the men followed Django as he led the way. The weight of their journey seemed a little lighter, the resolve a little stronger, bound by the newfound understanding that true leadership required more than just wealth or strength. It required the wisdom of the heart. The ascent up the sacred mountain was unlike any other climb. Every step seemed to be a dance between the earthly and the divine, where physical exertion met spiritual enlightenment. The men felt their breaths grow shorter, but their senses heightened. Every rock, every gust of wind, appeared imbued with ancestral wisdom. Finally, they reached the peak, where the night sky seemed to be within arm's reach, twinkling stars bearing witness to this pivotal moment in the village's history. There it was, the moonstone glowing softly in the moonlight, almost as if pulsating with the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Django approached the stone first, his hands trembling as he touched its cool surface. The moonstone lit up, its glow intensifying into a radiant beam that shot up towards the sky, returning as a cascade of light that enveloped him. Django, son of Kofi, a celestial voice echoed, "You have proven your worth. This child, Tariq, is yours, and you are destined to lead your people." Overwhelmed by emotion, Django fell to his knees. The men who accompanied him were silent, humbled and awed by the revelation. their prior envy and rivalry dissipating like morning mist. As they descended the mountain, the village came into sight, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. The men felt different, transformed not just by the revelation, but also by the journey itself. It was as if they had shed layers of ignorance and ego, revealing new skins of wisdom and humility. When they arrived, the entire village had gathered, the tension in the air palpable, a sea of faces, anxious and expectant. Django stepped forward, holding the moonstone high for all to see. "The ancestors have spoken," he declared. "I am the father of Tariq, and it is my destiny to lead this village." A collective gasp followed, then a roar of cheers and ululations. The elders nodded in approval, their faith in ancestral wisdom reaffirmed. Amina, with Tariq in her arms, walked over to Django. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all the complexities and hardships seemed to melt away, leaving behind a pure, unspoken understanding. As Django took his son in his arms for the first time, the village erupted in joyous celebration. But Amina knew that this was just the beginning. They had averted a crisis and perhaps even started a new chapter in their history. But the real work lay ahead, in raising a child destined for greatness and leading a village towards prosperity. Yet, with the moonstone as their guiding light and ancestral wisdom in their hearts, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Several moons had passed since the day Django was declared the father of Tariq and the future leader of the village. A sense of peace and prosperity seemed to have settled over the community, a testament to the prophecy foretold. Or so it seemed. One fateful evening, as Amina was nursing Tariq under the shadow of their family hut, she overheard a hushed conversation from behind the thick baobab tree that stood sentinel-like near her home. "You've done well, Django. The village suspects nothing, and the prophecy appears fulfilled." The raspy voice of Nia, the oracle, was unmistakable. "My conscience is troubled, Nia. We have deceived the people who trust us, and I am raising a son who is not truly mine." Django's voice quivered with regret. "Ah, but you will be a wise and kind ruler? Isn't that what's best for the village? A benevolent deception, I call it," Nia responded, her tone chillingly casual. Amina's heart sank. Betrayal, like a stealthy serpent, had entered her garden of trust. As she looked at Tariq, innocent and oblivious, a new resolve formed in her mind. The villagers might have been deceived, but they deserved the truth, especially when a future leader was in question. And her son Tariq deserved to know his true heritage. But how would she expose this conspiracy without plunging the village into chaos once again? Amina knew she had to tread carefully. The moonstone, the very symbol of Django's supposed legitimacy, suddenly seemed to her like the lock to a secret that only the true father could unlock. As the village slept, unaware of the storm that was quietly brewing, Amina began to formulate a plan. A test so definitive it would reveal the true father without doubt or dispute. But first, she had to ensure the moonstone's authenticity. For if the moonstone was part of the deception, its mystical power could still point to the real father, providing it was subjected to a ritual known only to the most enlightened sages. And so, under the veil of night, Amina set forth to consult the only person outside the village who could help her, the hermit sage of the Ebony Forest. Amina's journey through the Ebony Forest was fraught with risks, hidden pitfalls, nocturnal predators, and the ever-menacing darkness. But a mother's determination knows no bounds, especially when the future of her child is at stake. Deep within the forest, where ancient trees seemed to touch the heavens, Amina finally reached the secluded dwelling of the hermit sage. With a long, flowing beard and eyes that held the wisdom of ages, the sage welcomed her. "I have been expecting you, Amina," the sage began. "The forest whispers tales, and your plight has not gone unnoticed." Gathering her composure, Amina told the sage everything: the birth of Tariq, the journey to the sacred mountain, and the overheard conspiracy between Django and Mia. "I seek the truth, wise one," she concluded. "Can the moonstone still reveal Tariq's true father?" The hermit sage stroked his beard thoughtfully before speaking. "The moonstone is an ancient relic of truth. Its power can be manipulated, but it cannot be entirely corrupted. There exists a ritual, lost to time but known to me, that can cleanse the stone of any deception." Hope kindled in Amina's eyes as she listened intently to the sage. "You must perform the ritual of truth on the night of the new moon. The moonstone, bathed in the sacred waters of the Whispering Lake and subjected to this ritual, will shine only in the hands of the true Father." Armed with newfound hope and the elaborate instructions from the hermit sage, Amina thanked him and journeyed back to the village, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope, fear, and anticipation. She arrived just before dawn, slipping back into her home unnoticed. In her eyes was a glimmer of resolve, for she knew what had to be done next: retrieve the moonstone from its guarded sanctuary and prepare it for the ritual of truth. The stakes were sky high. If she succeeded, the entire village would finally know the truth. But if she failed, she risked not just her own reputation, but the very peace and harmony that currently blanketed her community. As she laid Tariq back into his crib, she looked at her son, his small face serene in sleep, completely unaware of the turmoil surrounding his young life. The new moon was just 3 nights away, and Amina knew that the future of her family and her village would be irrevocably altered by what the moonstone would reveal, or what it would fail to. As the new moon approached, Amina felt time compress, each second loaded with impending revelation or disastrous consequence. She had managed to discreetly acquire the moonstone from its sanctuary with the help of a sympathetic guard who believed in her quest for truth. Now it lay hidden beneath the floorboards of her hut, pulsing as if aware of its imminent role. Finally, the night of the new moon arrived. With Tariq safely asleep and Django away at a council meeting, Amina seized her opportunity. She unearthed the moonstone and set off towards Whispering Lake, a secluded body of water said to possess cleansing energies. Cloaked in darkness, her heart pounding in sync with her steps, Amina reached the lake and began the ritual of truth. She submerged the moonstone into the water, reciting the ancient incantations the hermit sage had imparted to her. As the last syllable left her lips, the moonstone glowed a soft white light, illuminating the dark waters. For a moment, Amina felt a ripple of energy course through her, as if the spirits of the lake whispered their approval. With the moonstone now cleansed and activated, she returned to the village, her every step shadowed by both anticipation and dread. Tonight, the village would gather for the Feast of Ancestors, a night of celebration, but for Amina, a night that would bear witness to either her ultimate vindication or her deepest disgrace. At the feast, as the villagers danced and sang, Amina revealed the moonstone, claiming it had been further empowered by the spirits for a special blessing. The crowd, high on communal fervor and intrigue, was eager to witness the spectacle. As per the ancient rites, let each potential father hold the stone, Amina announced, her voice unwavering. The true father of Tariq will activate its light. One by one, the men came up, each gripping the moonstone tightly, but the stone remained inert, its light dim, as if withholding its power. Finally, it was Django's turn. The crowd held its collective breath. Django held the stone, and it flickered but did not fully illuminate, Murmurs swept through the crowd, turning into exclamations of surprise and confusion. Before anyone could speak, a voice erupted from the back. Wait, the stone speaks not just to the hands that hold it, but to the eyes that meet it. Amina, look upon the stone. It was Nia, her eyes gleaming with a peculiar mix of fear and excitement. Amina lifted her gaze to meet Jengo's, her eyes then dropping to the moonstone. At that moment, the stone flickered violently and then went dark. Gasps filled the air. Jengo's face turned ashen. Amina's eyes met the crowd's, and in that moment, they all knew. Jengo was not the true father. The silence was shattered by Nia's maniacal laughter. You see, even the best laid plans falter before the will of the spirits. In the aftermath of the failed ritual, the village was consumed by a volatile mix of disbelief, anger, and urgent curiosity. The elders called for an immediate council meeting, its atmosphere charged with tension thicker than the humid night air. Nia was the first to speak, her voice dripping with a blend of regret and revelation. My fellow villagers, we've been entangled in a web of deceit. The spirits have spoken through the moonstone. Jengo is not the true father. However, this should be a time of awakening, not division. The council erupted into a cacophony of arguments and accusations. Finally, the chief elder, Mbaka, rose, his age-old wisdom commanding silence. Enough, he boomed. The ancestral spirits are not pleased with our folly. We must seek the truth and not let division tear us apart. Turning to Amina, he said, You've invoked the spirits and unearthed a terrible truth. What do you propose we do now? Amina's voice was firm. I propose another ritual, one that cannot be tampered with. Let every man in the village come forth and take an ancestral oath by the river of truth. There, they will declare their paternity, and the river, a divine witness, will reveal the true father. The council agreed, setting the ritual for the following dawn. No one slept that night, their dreams disturbed by whispers of scandal and winds of change. As the first light of dawn broke, the village gathered by the river of truth, its waters said to have been blessed by the gods. One by one, the men took the ancestral oath, swearing their innocence or guilt. Finally, it was Jengo's turn. He stepped forward, his eyes meeting Amina's. In that moment, Amina saw a flicker of something. Was it regret? Or perhaps a silent plea for forgiveness? Jengo dipped his hand into the river, solemnly reciting the oath. As he spoke, the waters around his hand churned ominously, but did not change color, the sign of a truthful oath. The crowd was in suspense, awaiting a divine sign. Just then, a cry erupted from the back of the gathering. All eyes turned to see a young man, Mazi, trembling as the waters around his submerged hand turned a radiant gold, the irrefutable sign of truth recognized in divine rituals. Mazi, son of Ogbo, Elder Mbaka, announced, You are the true father of Tariq, as declared by the river of truth. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Mazi was one of the most reclusive men in the village, known for his quiet nature and rarely involved in communal affairs. As Mazi hesitantly stepped forward, Amina's eyes met his. In that brief connection, she saw flashes of integrity and sincerity, characteristics she had yearned for but not found until now. The revelation of Mazi as the true father shook the very foundations of the village. Murmurs echoed among the crowd as Mazi approached Amina and Tariq, his eyes full of humility and a quiet kind of strength. Elder Mbaka stepped forward, his presence silencing the crowd. The river of truth has spoken. Mazi is the father, and we must honor this divine verdict. He looked towards Jengo and Nia, his eyes narrowing. As for those who led us astray, they shall face the council of elders for their actions. Mazi took his place beside Amina and Tariq. In that moment, Amina felt a new chapter in their lives was about to begin, one marked by honesty, respect, and love, things that had been so lacking in her recent past. As the rightful father, I will do my best to live up to this responsibility, Mazi declared, his voice tinged with genuine resolve. The villagers dispersed, their hearts and minds churning with a blend of relief, curiosity, and lingering doubt. The atmosphere was electric, and a sense of anticipation filled the air. It was clear that things would never be the same again. That evening, the Council of Elders met in an emergency session to discuss the fate of Django and Nia. The chamber was tense, as elders weighed the implications of their decision. Finally, they arrived at a verdict. Django was stripped of his title and status, mandated to perform public service as a sign of atonement. Nia was banished from her role as oracle, her position to be filled by a new seer chosen through divine consultation. Both faced the village the next day to publicly apologize for their deceit. There was a palpable air of disgrace around them, but also an undertone of tragedy, a reminder that even well-intended actions can lead to disastrous outcomes when they deviate from the path of truth. The prophetic words that Tariq was born to lead seemed to be materializing. As the village prospered in unexpected ways, crops yielded more, disputes among villagers lessened, and a newfound unity took root. Even Django, humbled by his public disgrace, found a path to redemption through sincere atonement. And Nia, though stripped of her title, began a quiet life of reflection. Her wisdom no longer mingled with manipulation. Thus, in a village that had been shaken to its core, a new dawn emerged, brighter, wiser, and full of promise. While challenges would undoubtedly arise, the community had been fortified by the irreplaceable virtues of truth and unity, and that made all the difference. And so, Amina, Mazi, and Tariq stood at the threshold of a promising new life, their hearts aligned with the enduring wisdom that truth, once revealed, has the power to heal, unite, and herald a brighter future. Thank you for following this intriguing tale. Sometimes the path to truth is twisted and steep, but it's a journey worth taking, for the truth sets us free. If you enjoyed this story, please feel free to drop a like and also subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on more interesting stories like this one.